Day 1 at the KTM Adventure Rally, 2024. The program for the day was set with an early start at 0700 hours for breakfast. It was open until 11 o'clock, but most riders were up early this morning. Registration was open for the last stragglers until 8:30. Between 7:30 and 8:30, the self-navigation riders set off. Then the people riding in the groups with a leader set off at 10-minute intervals from 8:30. The following experts led the groups: Joachim Sauer, Alexander Kotz, Nina Buchholz, and Gio Sala, who also is a KTM ambassador. Who are those guys leading the groups? Joachim Sauer, the driving force behind KTM's cutting-edge off-road bikes. As KTM's off-road product manager, Joachim brings a unique blend of technical expertise and a genuine love for riding. He's not just managing products, he has a background steeped in enduro and has even attempted the infamous Erzberg rodeo. Alexander Kotz, a name you might see behind the scenes at KTM, but he's far from just an office worker. Alexander has deep roots in off-road riding, with a solid foundation in motocross and enduro. You'll spot him at various events, showcasing his passion for the sport. Nina Buchholz is a talented German off-road racer. She has had a very successful career competing in the motorcycle off-road scene. Nina is the champion of the German cross-country class XC Women. She has also succeeded in the German Enduro Damen Cup and the European Cross Country Series, and she has done the Erzberg Rodeo. The KTM ambassadors: Giovanni Sala. When you talk about enduro royalty, Giovanni Sala's name has to be at the top. He's a multiple-time FIM Enduro World Champion, a true craft master. Sala's skill and determination saw him conquer the toughest enduro events, and he even took on the Dakar Rally, proving his incredible endurance and grit. Chris Birch, enduro champion, Dakar competitor, and off-road guru. 8-time New Zealand enduro champion, Roof of Africa winner, and a force in hard enduro. He's raced the toughest events and conquered the Dakar, and now he's sharing his expertise as a world-class coach and KTM ambassador. Johnny Aubert. This French legend isn't just a rider, a multiple world champion in both Enduro GP and Super Enduro. Aubert's aggressive riding style and exceptional skills made him a constant threat for victory. He's not just a champion, he's inspired a generation, and as a KTM ambassador, he continues to shape the future of the sport. Joey Evans. This South African, after a near-fatal accident, defied all odds not only to recover but to conquer the Dakar Rally, the world's toughest race. His journey, documented in his book, is a testament to the power of the human will. Today, as a KTM ambassador, he continues to inspire, proving that anything is possible. Today's route, the route started just outside the Portimão Raceway, with some nice fire roads northbound. Then it turned eastward towards lunchtime. After lunch, it turned back, with an extreme session on the way back for those who dared. In total, it was 273 kilometers, with a 16,353 meter elevation gain. When I got up for breakfast, I was groggy, had a fever and a bad throat, was coughing a lot, and generally did not feel well. I consulted the event doctor last night and was diagnosed with bronchitis. I got some pills, and hopefully that will take care of the illness. I put on my riding gear and walked over to the breakfast buffet, but had just some drinks. I went back to the room for some last preparations. I grabbed the last of the gear and got out to the bike. I started it up and got it ready. I turned on the Carpe Iter pad to see if I could get the GPS files online. That I did, and set the route. Then I started looking for the Norwegian gang, planning to ride in a group. There was some small talk before we ventured toward the gate. The organizers checked to see if we got the tracking device turned on before they let us out. Then we assembled by the roundabout before we drove to the start of today's route. The first part was on tar, going through Lagos and some other small places until we reached the start of the trail, which was not far from the Portimão Raceway. At the start of the gravel, we stopped for a little reorganization and a check of the GPS. I wanted to ride behind the group since I suspected my fever would affect my performance on the bike. Started easy, and that was good. After just a few minutes of riding, I discovered that I had put the 3D camera too high on its pole, which resulted in the camera smacking into the branches of the remaining trees. The morning dew was settling on my lens, ruining a lot of video. The optimistic start soon took its toll, and I realized that I needed to do the rally at my tempo. That is not bad, since I'm used to riding alone. The fever tore at me while I tried to follow the pack, but had to let them go. I did not have the breath to keep up, having to stop and couch up a lot of gruff occasionally. I drove on, passing slower bikers and letting faster bikers pass me. camera was still hitting overhanging branches, so I had to stop and put it down low, which again affected what I could capture in the video. Section, I encountered the first downed biker for this race. He was fine, and after helping him get the bike up again, I could continue on.
Yeah, that's fuel, so it's okay. Okay.
So overflow.
Sorry? Yeah, it's overflow. Pull in the clutch, the clutch.
I came to a steep hill where a group stood and contemplated whether they would do it. Then Martin Freinademetz with Christina Badu on the back raced up like it was an asphalt surface. I thought, if they can, I can, and followed up. It was steep, very steep. Before I knew, Martin was a former enduro rider and the driving force behind the Red Bull Romaniacs. After some time, I came down to one of the asphalt transport zones and missed the next part. But at that point, I was feeling too bad to continue. Bronchitis had won for today. So I skipped lunch and did the last part of the route alone. That was nice, to ride alone at my own pace, without having to chew the heavy dust from other riders, and to be able to see the landscape and the areas around.
Great birthday so far.
Great fun, a little bit slidey here and there, but not too much at the front.
They look a bit dusty.
Great landscape, I love it in Portugal. Thank you KTM for this.
grande problema. Even more exciting! Whoa!
So that's day one of the KTM Adventure Rally here in Portugal. It's been really fun. It's been freaking awesome. Trying to trust you on the and then to go around the corner.
Did you guys have a good day? Yeah! Woo! I'm super stoked. I was out there with you guys. It was fantastic. Let's have a show of hands. How many of you guys on the tech section did the first climb? How many of you did the second climb? Oh, a couple hands went down. I'm sure your buddies ragged you a solid climb. And something we found at lunch, outside the lunch place, was this mirror. Now I'm pretty sure there's probably a little story behind this because it's missing this part of it right here. Whose mirror is this? Do we know whose mirror it is? Do we know whose mirror is it? No one's owning up. Yeah, I think it's probably the kind of guy that if you looked at it, the mirror broke just looking at it. But I'm sure there was a story behind that. How many of you guys overshot a corner? I see a couple guys going to their buddy. You did. Put your hand up, bro. How many of you overshot a corner and actually dropped the bike down? How many of you guys overshot a corner, dropped the bike down, and actually needed help from other guys? 1, 2, 3. How many of you overshot a corner, dropped the bike down, needed help from other guys, and needed the medics? Right, let's give a round of applause. This end. So I was actually on this corner with him, and I can tell you, yeah, there we go, perfect. And I can tell you that he was pretty prepared because as he was lying there, I'm like, do you need some medication? He's like, yeah, my bag. We open his bag, he's like 20 different tablets, all labeled. So I'd like to congratulate, yeah, like Dr. House, there we go. So I was gonna say, I'd like to congratulate our friend here, who's also a drug addict.